Rob, Sony, a great name for electronics in my youth. Lots and lots of Sony products around, and even today we sit here speaking using Sony microphones in this studio. But bad news from them today. What's going wrong?
Two pieces of bad news. Number one, a 180 billion yen write-down in their mobile phones business. That's a little under $2 billion somewhere. They have discovered that the business is a little more competitive than they assumed and are now expecting future cash flows to be significantly lower, so the assets have to get written down. Second piece of bad news, and a related piece of bad news, was that they cut their dividend, and they won't be paying an interim or a full year dividend this year for the first time effectively in the history of the company.
You can see a lot of people being upset by both of those bits of news. But in the phones part of the business, this is now a very tough area in which to operate. What ought they to be doing?
Shut it down. There's absolutely no question. They said in their statement today that they're no longer going to go for rapid growth. They're going to go for lower volatility and steadier profits. The problem is this is a scale game. If they can't grow rapidly and they can't scale up and protect margins, they're never going to make any money, and they should just put this business down.
But this is a decent brand. Is there not any way of reviving it in handsets, do you think?
I think at this point, the resources that would be required to compete with all the different phones, lower-end phones running the Android operating system, or the high-end phones made, of course, by Apple, it just wouldn't be a gamble Sony is prepared to take. As the dividend cut shows, they probably don't have the resources to play.
So that's what they ought to be doing with their phones. But should they be extending the principle elsewhere? Sony's not had a great time in some of its other consumer electronics businesses as well.
I mean, this company has $5 billion in write-downs over the last, in losses over the last 10 years, and $6 billion in reorganization charges. Almost all of that comes from the electronics business. This is a bigger problem than just phones. There's a ray of hope here. Earlier this year, the company said it would spin off the TV business and sell the PC business. So they're willing to think radically. They just need to think more radically. And the most radical thing they could do now is have a hard think about the future of PlayStation, which is a not particularly profitable but wildly popular piece of electronics. But the consoles business, the future is sort of obscure. Microsoft seems to be slowly backing away from it. Should they think about the strategic options for this business before the wheels come off?
Well, that would be a very brave move if they did. Rob, thanks very much.
Thank you.